All right, let's talk UFOs. I know you think you've heard it all, right? Little green men, flying saucers, the whole Area 51 thing. But what if I told you there's a theory that just tosses all that aside? One that suggests something way, way stranger is happening in our skies.
So, here's the question that just turns everything on its head. Get this. What if they're not here for an invasion? Or, to be our friends? What if we've got their whole reason for being here completely wrong? What if their goal isn't to talk to us at all, but just to observe?
And that right there is the heart of what's called the shadow observation theory. And it's a pretty wild idea, but it's also kind of simple when you break it down. You see, the theory says these things we see, they aren't spaceships with pilots. Nope, they're super advanced, totally autonomous probes. I mean, think of them like cosmic wildlife cameras, sent here to study Earth without ever disturbing the habitat.
Okay, so if they're just robots watching us, that should explain why they act so weird, right? I mean, all those strange movements. Well, according to this theory, it explains it perfectly.
I mean, just think about a classic UFO story. It almost always goes the same way, doesn't it? Something just appears, totally silent. Then it zips around in ways that our best jets could only dream of. We're talking impossible speeds, right-angle turns, it stops on a dime, and then, poof, it vanishes without a trace.
And here's the thing. That's not how a person, a living pilot, would explore a new place, is it? There's no curiosity, no attempt to say, hi. It's just cold. It's efficient. It feels like a machine running a program. Like it's just ticking boxes on a data collection checklist.
And think about where these things show up. It's usually not over Times Square, right? It's out in the middle of nowhere, deserts, mountains, open oceans, or right over our most secret military bases. The idea here is that they're not watching you and me having a barbecue. They're watching the big stuff, the planet systems, weather, geology, and for sure, our most advanced technology.
But that, of course, leads to the billion-dollar question. How in the world do they move like that? I mean, we're talking about physics-defying stuff. No wings, no engines, making noise. How is any of that even possible? Well, you gotta understand, there's a huge difference between how we travel and how they seem to. Our tech, planes and rockets, it's all about brute force. We push against the air, we burn fuel, we make a ton of noise. But these things, it's like they're not fighting against physics at all. They're working with a totally different rulebook. So the theory goes that they aren't really flying through our air, they're kind of slipping through space itself. Imagine creating a little bubble of space-time around you and then just moving the bubble. Inside, you don't feel a thing. No G-forces, no sound. To them, it's just moving. But to us, on the outside, yeah, it looks like straight-up magic. Okay, fine. Let's say they're super advanced probes that can bend space. That's cool, but why so shy? Why not just land and say hello? Make it official. The answer the theory gives is, well, it's a little humbling. And maybe even a bit spooky. It's like this. You can learn a lot by watching an ant colony, right? But what happens the second you stick your finger in there? Everything changes. Their behavior is altered forever. You've just contaminated the whole experiment. So, put yourself in their shoes for a second. What do they see when they look down at us? A species that's, well, we're constantly fighting with each other. We've got world-ending weapons. We're pretty unpredictable. And really, on a cosmic scale, we're just figuring out how to use our fancy new toys. Making contact wouldn't just be a little disruptive, it could completely derail our entire development as a species. Which brings us to the big finale here. If they've been watching us quietly for who knows how long, why now? Why does it feel like sightings are way up? Why are governments suddenly starting to talk about this stuff?
Well, this theory says it's no accident at all. It's because we're changing, and fast. The whole experiment, if you want to call it that, is hitting a really, really interesting new chapter.
And I mean, just look at what's going on down here. We're on the verge of creating true artificial intelligence. We're actually trying to go back to space in a serious way. Our planet's climate is going haywire, and, tensions between nuclear powers are not great. These aren't just little blips on the radar. These are things that could change the future of the entire planet. So it's like, for centuries, they could just hang back and watch from a safe distance, just casual observation. But now that we're capable of making decisions that affect the entire globe, and maybe even beyond, they have to get a closer look. They're leaning in. And that's really the whole point, isn't it? The reason they're getting closer is because we as a species have finally reached the point where we can change our own world, completely, for better or for worse. The little ants in the colonies suddenly have matches, and the observers are paying very close attention.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, according to this theory, it's pretty simple. They're not here to hurt us. They're not an invasion force.
But they're not here to save us either. If we mess this all up, they're not going to step in and fix it for us.
They are just here to watch.
Which leaves us with one last kind of chilling question, doesn't it? If we really are an experiment, what's the final chapter? What are they waiting to see? And what happens